Hello. Merry Summer Solstice to you all. It's June 20th, 2021, and part of why I'm making this video is to get it out of me that yesterday was one of the trippiest sober days of my life. I didn't even drink coffee, and it was just so different. My body did not want to move at all, and I couldn't figure out a reason why, but I stayed in bed past 9 a.m. and was in bed more in the afternoon, and I let myself do so little yesterday. And all the while, I kept thinking, it feels so trippy. I was very aware that my body was like reduced by something. It seemed like that. But thanks to human design, I'll say, I didn't judge myself about it, and I didn't try to do anything different than what my body could do. And eventually, in the evening, late afternoon, I ended up in bed watching YouTube, right? And I started with Netflix. I tried to watch 3 different things, but nothing appealed. And then I ended up on YouTube, and I ended up watching an hour-and-a-half podcast about DMT. And I wasn't looking for that, okay? But yeah, by the end of it, I had learned new things about DMT. And then I subsequently watched another documentary, especially about DMT, that gave me all kinds of information that I didn't know about before. For example, I didn't know that DMT was in like all of our tissues and like it's throughout all of us. I knew about the pineal gland, and in yoga training in India, we had learned about like this nectar that comes out of your 7th chakra or whatever, And so I had some sense of that, but what I learned yesterday seemed, again, what is this real? That's the question. And we know the answer, okay? But what I got to hear about was that because DMT is made in our cells, and not just in the pineal gland, but in the visual cortex, for example, there's now, because of recent science, documented in a documentary called DMT Quest, which I will watch again. There's a lot more evidence that, from the scientific measurement point of view, that everything that we're seeing is an illusion made up in here. In here? What's here? Are we separate? Right? So another thing I got to hear about was that, we have DMT in our bodies, and then we can take it externally. We have endogenous DMT, and then there's exogenous, I think is the word. So that's like ayahuasca, right? And other substances have it, 5-MeO and blah, blah. So I have some familiarity with that because the same week I met human design and body work through the hands, through touch, I learned about Aya because I got to have an ayahuasca ceremony as part of all that. And I wasn't looking for it, but pretty much like all the psychedelics and even all the marijuana, it just comes to me. I don't go seek it out so much, like so many times on Summer Solstice, I've ended up with mushrooms in my hands that I didn't go looking for. The most recent was in Thailand. I know people go to Thailand for drugs and stuff, but I didn't. I went there to go to massage school. But on Summer Solstice, I end up walking through the jungle and ending up on a beach with a mushroom milkshake in my hands. I'm like, of course. I'm all alone at the beach in Thailand. I'm going to trip. But anyway, that was the last mushroom trip for me. Well, the last one that I've had. In any case, what I got to learn about was that because we have DMT in our body, and we have this other substance called MeO that like disintegrates it basically. So when you take exogenous DMT, then it can go away real fast. They're short trips because your body is breaking it down. But when you have an MAO, I think an MAO inhibitor, then that prevents the breakdown from happening so fast and allows you to have that longer experience that you have with ayahuasca. But what was posed in this one podcast I watched, which is really intriguing me right now, is that these experiences that people have, without substances that are trippy, like my day yesterday, how much of that is because my own MAO is low, like my body's own system of breaking down the DMT, which allows me to have like this illusion of reality, that things are solid and stuff. If my own levels of that anti-DMT go down, then my natural levels of DMT are greater. And these levels, by the way, in this recent studies are showing that like it's up there with numbers comparable to serotonin and dopamine. DMT in the body as a neurotransmitter. Why don't we know this already? Well, Richard Nixon, federal government says we can't research psychedelic things, and DMT got into that category. So I guess I'm putting this all out there because I would like to talk to other people about it. I don't know if this is something that's long-term for me or not, but it was definitely part of yesterday and part of my mind's interest in researching right now. So if you want to talk about DMT in the context of your human design experiment, I would like to talk to you. Now, human design also helps me see that these summer solstice events, I've always had such incredible summer solstice events, and sometimes they're mellow, but there's an intensity to it. And well, today I bring home a puppy, and I didn't go looking for a puppy. I know what it's like to try to prove myself by raising a puppy because I've done that before. I've done the proving of it, and this one didn't come to me that way. Yeah, this is a no-choice pet adoption situation as far as I can tell. So we'll see what happens. But hey, I've got to talk about some of my favorite things: human design, psychedelic experiences, and puppies, and summer solstice, all in one video. So thanks for being part of it with me. Ciao.